hear that bleep, bleep? Those are the Evening&Pine-Gross-Beaks. They are yellow, black, and they look like a little bit of green. They can look like parrots. I have some mourning doves, some American goldfinches. But we've had a lot of lightning this morning. It's 50 degrees out, so it's pretty cold. I feel so blessed having such a beautiful yard. Thank you, Lord. You know what, though? I'd trade my beautiful home and live in a dumpy trailer if it meant I had better health and my husband health. I really would. I envy people that live in a dumpy trailer and they have good health. My husband suffered cancer, open heart surgery. Oh, endless bouts of cancer that I gave him because of the HPV virus that I got when I got pregnant by a monster I didn't choose. Alice Cooper was there. I had no place to go, so they said I could stay at this dance hall with Alice Cooper and his gang. This guy drugged me. He did that to his 5-year-old daughter, too. That's why he's spent most of his life in prison. I chose to keep my baby. Gotta share a story. I have so many stories to share. They're all true. Why do I have so much happen to me? Unbelievable. It's a small world. I hope those birds aren't staying away because I'm sitting here. I don't know. Hello, Julita. Hi. Hi. I haven't seen you before. Jutta? Is it Jutta? I'm reading on my phone. Thank you for stopping by. Oregon is so beautiful. 8:13, I'm there. Hello. I'm glad you're here. I guess it's 8:13 here in the Pacific Northwest. It never rains. Oh, can you hear that? Breet, breet. Those are the evening grosbeaks. And we have pine grosbeaks, which are same size but different color. But these evening grosbeaks only come once a year, and they're only here for about a week, and then they fly off. Oh, UK. Wow. My husband used to live in Scotland, Holyloch, Scotland. My husband's Scotty dog. He is a descendant of William Wallace. My husband's grandpa's name is William Wallace. They start in with a shooting. Those kids down there. There's several acres down there. They scare me. Yeah, my husband was in the U.S. Navy in Holyloch, Scotland, aboard a nuclear sub called the Henry L. Stimson. And he came home on leave just a few days during Christmas and New Year's. Got lots of deer and rabbits here. I don't like killing the deer. We don't eat the deer meat. My sister does. She hunts elk. She dresses it. Ooh, look at this. Is that a hawk or a... Could be a turkey buzzard. Not a heron. It's not flying like a heron. Yeah, those are turkey buzzards. Anyway, my husband came home. It was New Year's Day when he went to the Winchell's Donut in Casadero, Spring Valley, California. And he got a maple bar. There's my favorite bird. And I cannot. Why won't this let me hone in on it? Why can't I enlarge this? Darn it. There's the grosbeak right there. Anyway, he walked into Winchell's and got a maple bar and a hot cocoa. And he got in his parents' car and drove up the hill. That was New Year's Day. I just had a baby December 13. And I didn't have anybody's help because I had an out-of-wedlock baby, and my parents were disgusted with me. But I didn't choose that. I had been ARPed. I don't know if you're allowed to say that word. But anyway, I had slept in my car a few nights, and I thought, I can't do this. I got a baby. I've been out of the hospital. I was in the hospital for 5 days because I had a very traumatic birth. The doctor made sure, because he hated girls that had out-of-wedlock babies. And he made sure I suffered. I was in labor for 24 hours. It was awful. And I was screaming and having a hard time. I cannot enlarge this. I don't know what's going wrong with this phone. And my hands are clean. Anyway, so, yeah, my parents were wicked. They were religious weirdos. And my mom had driven me to a home for unwed mothers in Los Angeles, and 3 hours away from where she was. And I wanted to stay with my parents, but I had 2 younger sisters, and they told me that I was a bad influence. Couldn't stay there. So my mom drove me, well, it was almost 2-3 hours to East LA, to the Home for Unwed Mothers, Booth Memorial Hospital, from East San Diego. And she went inside to fill up the paperwork, and all I had was a half a grocery bag. All I had was a paper sack of clothing, because we had had a flood. We lost everything in a flood in Loma Linda in 1969. So I didn't have any clothing, just half a grocery bag full. And so I went into, she went inside to fill out the paperwork to give them custody of me, because I was only 17. And the nun took me up to my room upstairs. So I put my things away and kind of looked over the court, because it was upstairs. So, and then I went out to the car out front. I was going to ask my mom to come see my room. She was gone. She left without saying goodbye. And so during my whole pregnancy, she wouldn't talk to me. She just shamed me. Let me turn this around, see if this will help. That beauty filter don't work. Oh, I'm ugly. Poor old lady. So then, I was just shocked that my mom drove off, wouldn't talk to me, left me there. I was 3 months pregnant. And I tried calling her. I'm 71 years old. The lightning's all stopped, darn it. But the birds are here. But I can't focus in. That's weird. Yeah, it was 1969, different times. You know, anybody having sex outside of marriage is a hoe. But you know, teenagers, they gotta do what they gotta do. Come on. My daughter was 16. You know what I gave her? We adopted some girls. Oh, you had your son, Nick. That's awesome. Nicholas. So, my daughter was 16. And I got one of those ceramic, you know, those flower dishes. Those things that hold floral thing. And it was the shape of a baby buggy. And I filled it with several boxes of condoms. And I separated and put all the condoms, must have been 50 condoms that I put in there. I gave it to her. Her boyfriend was there. And she goes, "Mom, oh my God, I can't believe you gave me that. What are you thinking?" I says, "I don't want you getting pregnant." "Well, we're not." I says, "Oh, come on. I found a used condom in the trash in the bathroom, so don't tell me you're not doing that." She was embarrassed, but she didn't get pregnant. Anyway, so I had my baby, and in the hospital for 5 days with stitches. Oh my goodness, I hurt. And then I got an infection because I had been given the HPV virus, the human papilloma virus, from the guy that irped me, got me preggers. And so anyway, it was a very, very traumatic birth. So he was born December 13, so 5 days later, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I got out December 18, and I slept a few nights in my car. I thought, this isn't going to work, not with a newborn baby. And I'd met a few people, and then I went to a church, and I met a gal, and she invited me to her church, and I put a bubble gum, one of those silver, from the Wrigley's gum, there's silver wrapper, and I made the wrapper, and I put it on my finger. I told her my husband is in the army away in Vietnam. I felt bad for lying, but I didn't want her to know that I was not married. A episiotomy? Oh, I had more than a episiotomy. They used 4 packages of sutures. And then I had been given a double dose of oxytocin, the stuff that makes you have stronger, faster labor. It induces your labor pushing and everything. And the nurse the doctor said, ordered a double dose of oxytocin. And then, so she put that in my IV, and then I started having awful pain, I was screaming. And then he came in and broke my waters, and then she went in, it was at 3:30. She went in to have, to do the reports. And she hadn't written on my chart yet that she had given me the dose of oxytocin. And then the second nurse, the nurse coming in, who was going to be my nurse from the 3 o'clock shift, came in and saw the orders for the oxytocin double dose. So she gave me a dose. So I had 4 doses of oxytocin, and I was just slamming one after another, and that was at 3:30. And I was screaming and screaming and screaming. Here I am alone, 17, and I begged God, please don't ever let me have another baby. I never want to get pregnant again. This is awful. I was cursing at God. I know I was wrong, but I was alone and scared. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know labor was going to be that traumatic, that bad. But they told me I should have had, the doctors later said I should have had a C-section because I'm a large woman. I'm 5'9", but my pelvic area is just really small. He says I'm not built to have babies, that I should have had a C-section, and that it was cruel to let me have natural childbirth. Yeah, I had a natural childbirth. He was born at 5:30 or 5:21 or something like that, about 2 hours after the last oxytocin dose. And oh my gosh. And then I tore inside clear to my behind. I tore 4 inches inside. And so they had to do surgery to redo it. And then they gave me pain meds, and then the pain meds make you constipated. So I couldn't go poop. And then when I did, I thought I was going to pass out. And they wouldn't let me see my baby. They kept him away from me. They took him the minute he was born. They took him away, and they took him to another room. I never got to look at him. And I kept begging and begging. Well, they thought that if they did that, they would break my bond and that I would give the baby away. And they said I was just too young to raise a baby. And the nurses at the Booth Memorial Hospital, the home for unwed mothers, tried to get me to give the baby away. And they said no man would marry me and I'd be on welfare the rest of my life. And you can't find a man to marry you and raise that kid as his own. But I thought I knew better. Boy, was I wrong. And they said, you can't, if you give your baby away, you can go to college, you can have a good life and everything. But I had ADD and learning disability, so I flunked every class. I was a ding-dong. I got a D in all my classes, F and Ds. And I went to a different school every year. I never went to the same school twice because my family was always running away from the creditors and the angry landlords. So my dad was a shyster. He gambled away. My mom would work, and she made the income. Well, Bob gambled away every penny, so we had to move all the time, which meant I went to a different school. So I was always busy trying to make new friends, and we were just poor white trash. And so I failed everything. Both my sisters are highly educated. One's a professor. She's got 2 PhDs. The other one's a psychologist. But they married the hot boyfriends. I married the quiet nerd. Ha ha ha. I hit jackpot. So I didn't know it at the time, but I hit jackpot. So I found a job at Winchell's Donuts. And then the gal that worked there at Winchell's rented me a room, so I got to live with her. But I didn't like it that she was smoking pot and bringing guys home and drinking, so I didn't stay there very long. But anyway, but I was working on New Year's Day when this guy walked in. I thought he was cute. He wasn't wearing a sailor outfit, but I just thought he was kind of handsome. And then 6 months later, in June, I got fired from that job because they said I stole $10 out of the till. I'm not a thief, and I'm not a liar. And that just broke my heart, being accused of stealing $10. It could have been somebody made a mistake on the till, entered 10 cents and $10 instead of 10 cents. And I tried to argue with him. I didn't. I was so mad and I was so hurt. Anyway, I got fired. I think that's the only job I've ever been fired from. So I no longer work there, which was a good thing because I would have met, there was a lot of cops that came in, and I was attracted to those uniforms, you know, who isn't? And, but because I didn't work there, I didn't meet any guys. And then I tried going to college and failed that, and just kind of bouncing off the wall with my son. So I went to the Casadero Winchell's where I'd been working, and there was this handsome guy that was drawing a portrait, really good artist. So I started talking to him about his artwork, and I said, "Hey, weren't you in here on New Year's Day and you bought a maple bar and you drove a green car up the hill?" And he was shocked. He says, "How could you remember that?" And I says, "I never forget a face. I really don't. I never forget a face. I meet a person one time and their face imprints on me for life." Anyway, so we started talking, and I started talking about his artwork, and I says, "I'm having some friends over. We're going to play Monopoly. Would you like to come over?" So he said, "Yeah." So I was dating another guy, and he was dating another girl. But my boyfriend was a tuna fisherman. He was out on with his tuna seiner. They were quite wealthy. Not quite, but they were multimillionaires. And Danny Blocker was his name. He was a tuna fisherman. The Blocker family there in San Diego. And he was always standing me up. Anyway, I helped Larry get dressed for... Larry used to dress so weird. Oh my gosh. But hey, he's an engineer. He's an engineer, geeky guy, quiet geek. And I told him, "You can't dress like that. Go out on a date." So I helped him get a new outfit and got him all dressed up. And then Danny was supposed to take me out. And I get this phone call by 9 o'clock, and it was Larry. I said, "What happened to your date?" He says, "Oh, she stood me up." I said, "Yeah, Danny stood me up too." And he says, "Oh, let's go out." I said, "Okay." So we were just friends. I didn't have any feelings for Larry. And we were just friends. I don't even think we ever kissed until then. And with a bottle of Boone's Ferry wine, we spent the night together. And that was in 1970. And Larry was in college, and he finished his college, and we got married in 1973. We've been married 50 years. His family hated me. Oh my gosh. They couldn't believe he married a floozy, uneducated, out of wedlock. Oh, they just hated my guts. And my sisters made fun of Larry because he was geeky, nerdy geek. And they had hot boyfriends. Well, guess what? Both their hot boyfriends have ended up in jail. Larry's never done anything wrong to end up in jail. He's never done drugs or anything. So, anyway. Yeah, my son's 50-something. How old is he? He was born in 69. He's 55 years old. Anyway, I was never able to have children after that, so we adopted 2 girls from an orphanage in Mexico. They had reactive attachment disorder. So, anyway, life is good. Wow. Sometimes life is good. Look at that beautiful view. Anyway, y'all take care. You be a blessing to somebody. There's a lot of people out there that are suffering. They need a blessing. They need your smile. They need your friendship. Even if it's a stranger in the grocery store, just ask them, wow, that's a beautiful coat you have, or I like your purse, or I like your haircut, or if somebody's poor and they're counting out their nickels, buy them a gallon of milk. Being kind doesn't cost anything. If you smile and say hello, it costs you nothing. Help somebody, be a blessing to somebody, because that will be a blessing to you. I promise you, it'll come back on you triple fold. I don't believe in karma, but I do believe that God will protect you or give you a blessing. Isn't that bird? Those are the goldfinches. Look at this rosy-colored bird. It's just beautiful here. But you can be a blessing to somebody just by saying hello, or, wow, this weather is crazy today, or just say something to acknowledge that they're there. They might be in the throes of despair. You never know. But you can make a difference to somebody just by saying hello, just by being friendly. God bless you all. And like I said, you be that blessing to somebody.